Aliens are here, dressed as nuns, says a former Minister of Defense of Canada. Paul Hellyer, a former Minister of Defense of Canada, had little to do with UFOs while he was in the employ of the Canadian government. It was after he had long retired that he began to devour UFO books and finally became a believer. Although, according to researcher Chris Rutkowski, Hellyer in 1967 ceremoniously opened the UFO landing pad at St. Paul, Alberta. Rutkowski also stated that he located a document describing a ministerial inquiry in what would today be called crop circles, also in Alberta, Canada, in 1967. And now Hellyer is in high demand as a UFO conference speaker since he was a former Minister of Defense of Canada. Aliens are here, dressed as nuns, says a former Minister of Defense of Canada. Let's see what he has to say.
Hellyer served as the Canadian Minister of Defense in the 1960s. He became the first cabinet-level politician from a G8 country to publicly state that there is extraterrestrial life present on Earth.
Who were actually working with the United States Air Force in Nevada. They're able to get away with that. They had a couple of their ladies dressed as nuns went into Las Vegas to shop, and they weren't detected.
Let's continue. No one is exempt from making nutty sounding remarks. It seems that there are always a few in the crowd, actually in every walk of life, including military personnel, pilots, generals, and even astronauts, who sometimes make nutty sounding, rather outrageous remarks or statements, mainly based on some preconceived personal beliefs of theirs, religious or not. Yes, this includes even some policemen, pilots, generals, and even astronauts whom we hold in high estimation. Now, why is this? It is simply because they're all humans with preconceived notions of things or worldview. School teachers, professors, scientists, and even some well-respected politicians are no exceptions. This is why I feel that simply quoting from pilots, generals, and even astronauts when discussing such things as UFO sightings should not be the final word. After all humans are imperfect when it comes to personal visual perceptions of things. Jesse Marcel, of the Roswell fame, who kept changing his story, had a history of embellishment and exaggeration. He had a penchant for exaggerating things while repeatedly trying to write himself into the history books. Astronaut Edgar Mitchell was the founder of the Institute of Noetic Sciences, which was exploration into the nature and potentials of consciousness using multiple ways of knowing, including intuition, feeling, and the senses. The list goes on and on. The bottom line, however, is that the final evidence will only come when entire mankind is openly contacted by physical ETs, if ever. This is Norio Hayakawa in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, USA.